Hi guys, welcome back to the Fallout 4 settlement build. This time we're going to tackle another one of my more simple settlements. This time we're tackling County Crossing. That's right, County Crossing. Basically, this settlement does serve a grander purpose like some of the other few settlements do, but I did make it something more simple along the lines of like how my Ten Pines Bluff settlement was. There's nothing too extravagant here, and I did make a few extra changes before I decided to do this recording just to kind of fill out the space a little bit, but I'll go into that when it's applicable. Basically, the purpose of County Crossing was, and I'll kind of show y'all real quick, it's real obvious that I planned to keep the caravan routes going in a circle, and you may see this on like online and stuff about how people recommend to distribute the caravan lines. One of them is to go in a big circle like this. The extra lines that you see here is, I don't know how they got there. I guess it's just glitches or just other caravans that spawn somewhere. I don't know, but obviously mistakes happen. But I obviously did not intend that. I obviously intended it to go from one settlement to the other in one straight line. But that's besides the point. Basically, the purpose of County Crossing is to basically be like a middle point for the access and trading of goods between this section of the settlement and everywhere, or this section of the Commonwealth and everywhere else. And this is kind of where a place where the caravans can drop off their stuff, other caravans pick it up and then take it to the south and north and stuff like that. And that's basically what it is. But there's obviously, you know, a suitable enough settlement here to meet the general needs of the people who live here. And thanks for opening up the gate, Brahmin. But yeah, basically the place where I mentioned where they could drop off stuff is basically here. It's basically right out here in front. The caravans will generally walk along this road and take the paths they need to get to the different settlements. But they generally would drop their stuff off here. And this is just a place where someone stays by and it keeps a lookout on all the stuff. But it's easily accessible here from the front, and it's guarded at all times. It's never not staffed. There's always someone here, and like most of my other settlements, people take turns with shifts. But anyway, now that Brahmin has opened up the gate for us, here is the main entrance, and I'll just give you all a quick look around everywhere, and I'll begin the tour. Basically, the main area here that's not fenced off is meant for people who are traveling by and meant for the caravans. So obviously you can come in here, do some of your meet some of your shopping needs, and then continue on your way. In hindsight, I decided to build this little common house, and I intentionally did not mean to make it. I meant to not make it very extravagant looking. It's meant to just be very, very basic. Just a couple of mattresses, a trunk, stuff for people to keep their stuff there, because they're usually going to sleep here for a few hours, wake up the next morning and continue on their way. So it's not meant to work like a hotel, and it's kind of open up for everyone. But generally, it's also, since the caravans like to stop off here, I intentionally gave it the size, or gave it enough room for 3 beds at least. And again, it's very, very basic, but that was my intention for this little shack here, and I added it later. I decided to add it just to fill out the space a little bit more. I feel like it still needed a little bit of work, or the settlement needed a little bit of work, so I added that. Continuing on, we've got most of our shops here. We've got the item shop here. Nothing too special here. With the immersive vendors mods, it really adds more detail to the area, which I like. Over here we've got the clothing shop. Few mannequins posted. And again, the people who live and work here, they, honestly live and work here. They're meant to kind of, it was a settlement before they decided, it was a settlement on its own before they decided to essentially give their hand to the trade, that was the trade movement that was going on by the means of the Minutemen liberating the whole Commonwealth. And that's kind of their goal, and that's kind of their focus is to kind of be the midway point for the caravans and tradings that are the traders that are connecting all the other different settlements. But if people are just traveling by, they can do all their shopping needs here. Oh, I'm gonna not go up there because I don't want to have to try and get past that NPC. But anyway, it just appears the armorer and the weapons dealer. So They've got their stands here, and I tried to make it again where it was around the 12 o'clock point. That way the people would be stationed at the stores. Anyway, continuing on, I'm just going down here. We are now, oh man, okay, thank you, just goddamn Brahmin. Continuing on, we're now on the other side of the fenced area, and we're getting into the actual living area where the actual settlers choose to live and where they grow their food and stuff. And like all settlements, I have my greenhouse here where the settlers grow their food and whatnot. Nothing too fancy here, obviously. Now, County Crossing is, for the most part, it's a pretty boring looking settlement on its base level. It only has a couple of existing structures. This little shack here is one of them, and then this one, the base of this was basically just a ruined home, basically, that had a few broken walls and no roof, basically. And obviously I fixed it up, stacked up a few things on it, but I decided to keep the existing shack here, and I didn't really change much in here. It's a couple of things added, but nothing too crazy, pretty much. That's all that is. I'll go back there later. Going over here, as you can see, I stacked it up, and was basically trying to cram as much space into the one structures as I could. And I tried to kind of interconnect them like I normally try to do. I would have probably made this place even bigger than normal, but obviously I was dealing with size limitations and whatnot. So, and in here, I had to make a few changes in here because some of the boards on the beam were kind of like phasing through, and it was looking pretty bad. It was like all this little glitchy stuff that was happening, but I fixed it up, tried to make it a little bit more seamless. Again, a general sized living area for a few people in this section here. Over here, we've obviously got a water purifier here that they obviously use. Going upstairs, and this is one thing I hate about the settlement, trying to get past people here. I should have widened the stairs a little bit to really help with that. And up here, we can go to left or right, and just to the right is another living area. Again, for kind of one of the bigger little homes here for some of the settlers. Nothing too fancy. Again, this is kind of one of my more simple settlements. They are, for the most part, roughing it. They're dealing with it pretty roughly, I must say, but with the vicinity of other settlements around, I don't see that as anything too harsh on the settlers living here. And over here is where everyone eats. This is kind of the chow hall. Again, nothing too big. There's always someone here, usually cooking, a few people stationed to cook the food all day long and have it prepared for everyone involved, gather their food and cook it and whatnot. This place, it's not a regular restaurant that's open to the rest of the Commonwealth. This is strictly mainly for the settlers. Obviously, traders and travelers cannot get to this area, so this is mainly just for the settlers themselves. Got a few bins out here for storage, and nothing too special here. I like all the different other mods that add a level of detail to the settlements. It really, even for smaller settlements, it makes everything look a little bit more interesting, just with a few little simple mods that you can install, and it really fills out the space a lot. And continuing back here, I kind of had second guesses about this particular treehouse, but by the time I was pretty much done with the settlement, I realized I couldn't really change it. This comes with a mod, obviously, this treehouse here, and so does that one, but that one makes more sense, obviously. That one's kind of more of a guard tower, or at least it was originally meant to be seen as like a guard tower, little above ground little tree house for one person to live in. This one, I don't even really know if this was base game or not. None that I'm aware. But it doesn't. Just looking at it, it doesn't seem to make sense physics-wise. But I don't fret about it now. It seems to work for the purpose of this settlement. And over here is just a little work area, a little workshop. Nothing too fancy. Where they keep some of the supplies here and do a mild repair work, but nothing crazy like some of my other settlements. Just under here, under the shop, is more storage. Like nothing crazy. And we'll continue up here to the first treehouse. Again, I try to keep everything as connected as I can. I like all these different walkways that can really add a level of detail and connection to each of the different places. I like it a lot. Inside this first treehouse, kind of like the one at my Murkwater build, it's pretty much something. Most of the furniture I have in here is borrowed from the Thematic and Practical mod. Really like that mod. It really is very much lore friendly and really feels like it's something that belongs in the Fallout universe. Again, some stuff that people themselves scrounged together to make it into a little cozy home, and I like it a lot. Continuing on. On top here, we've got 2 other houses, and I like the above ground, the stuff being on top. It adds a little level of more security for the settlers. If heaven forbid something happens, at least they're in a safer area up above where people can't reach them. And this is the first house over here, part that gives a good view of the Commonwealth and part of downtown Boston, as you see there. Couple beds and knickknacks and what have you. Storage. Got little tables and doodads for them just to chill when they're not going about their day-to-day business, or when they're at night chilling before they go to bed and all that stuff. And the last house here, as you can see. I kind of like this shack. This was something I think that was added to the mod system, but it was something that was seen in the original artwork for Fallout, if I'm not mistaken, but they never implemented it into anything. But then some mod creators decided to actually make it come to life, like you see here. And that's pretty much it for the settlement, guys. And it seems like a mist rolled in. I'm actually going to take care of that real quick. Alright, that's better. I always like to keep it clear as I can. And again, that's it for the settlement, and as always, I will give a quick run through of the whole settlement at night.
You don't like all a good day?
Dangerous look about you. Hope you ain't here for me.
Yes? You don't much care for me. That place is nothing but trouble.
Need to get back to Diamond City one of these days. Biggest town on the
The farm's not much.